What's going on, everybody? It's me, Shane, and I'm here to give you another Mushoku Tensei Jobless Reincarnation episode review recap. Today's episode, we've hit the big 2-0, episode 20, also entitled My Little Sister, the Maid. The birth of my little sister, the Maid. Now, I have to say this early. Um, I thought this would be like a flashback episode, so I was kind of thinking, man, so they're gonna do a flashback, show early life. Okay, hopefully towards the end of this, we'll get some conflict resolution. That was not true. I think this is setting up for something in the future, because I know in the books and the manga, it's young, young Rudy, then and by young I mean like kid to teens, and throughout his 20s, 30s. And I think they skip all the way to like his 50s. But I'm greatly enjoying this era right now, and it's hinting that she's gonna journey with him in the future. But before I go any further, please take that journey and hit the like button, hit me up with a comment, and definitely subscribe if you are not. It definitely helps me out a ton. So let's go ahead and get right on into it, shall we? Oops. Guess that light doesn't work when it's daylight. Boop. So, if you remember last time, Rudy's trying to get Aisha trying to get Lilia back. Unfortunately, he is captured because this idiot Prince Pax is trying to use him as bait to get Roxy, even though how the hell is Roxy supposed to know, you fat, nasty idiot? So, we are greeted with a small flashback. We see that gray cloud that appeared when the calamity went off. That thing must have been huge because Rudy was over in another part of the continent, and that magical flash going off was seen. Now, Aisha said it was pretty. We see, Paul's holding Norn, Zena's behind him, Aisha is right behind them, and then not Aisha, Lilia is right behind them. Lily's the one with the glasses. She's the mom. Um, Aisha comes in with Sylphie, however you want to say her name, and Aisha says it's pretty, and I guess instinctively, Lilia turns around and just grabs and holds her. I guess this is when everybody was going to come and see Rudy for his 10th birthday, which had already passed. So I guess they were just still going to try to see him anyway. All of a sudden, like with everyone else, that wide energy beam went off, and suddenly they're underwater. So, Lily got them to the top. Aisha, she's breathing and everything, and she's piggybacking them. I love the fact that our intro song is played over this, and we do get voice clips now. I mean, the last 5 or so episodes when people are talking during the intro, and they're in the Shirone Kingdom. Obviously, they know that's the last place where Roxy was sending letters from, so she's trying to see Roxy Megurdia. And of course, for whatever reason, the guards are like, "Oh, you're suspicious. You're just walking up here, dude. She looks dirty, dusty. Her daughter looks dirty and dusty. Pretty sure the calamities hit you as well." But this nasty prince dude, he's already chasing a girl around in the little courtyard area, and he goes, "Wait a minute. So you know Roxy?" Just throws both of them in jail with that nasty ass grin. There have been people that have been comparing him to Rudy. No, Rudy may be a pervert. This dude's fucking degenerate. He is nasty. Talking about sexually assaulting someone in front of somebody and forcing them to have kids. He's he takes the guard. We'll get into it. So, um, hold on. Nice and pretty. Blah 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 blah. So, um, give me a second. Here's my notes. So now we are centered in on Rudy. He's on the ground in this magical circle, and he's doing the same bit that he did when he was in the jungle prison. He's like, "Yeah, I'm here in this place. It's amazing. It's rent free." We see a hole in the corner where it looks like a roach just crawls into the hole, and he's like, "Yeah, it doesn't look like much. Lack of bedroom and bed and bathroom is concerning." And I think that's kind of funny, given that in the jungle, he had a gave him a bed on top of having a hole to poop and pee in. So you mean tell me their dungeon is better than the Chirone's dungeon? Okay, so he he's talks about security being tight because once you're in, you're in. Can't even use magic, and he says outwardly, "All right, that's enough of that bit. I've done that already. Please." And he's praying. He's like, "Please, Rudyard Eris, hurry up and rescue me." So the door opens up, and the person that walks down is Zanoba Shirone, third prince of the Shirone. Pretty much a tall guy. He looks lanky, and he's wearing glasses. He has this pretty. He looks like he's prim and proper. He does the whole 10 hut stand, with the ankles clicking when he stands at attention. He introduces himself. Rudy is so inclined to also introduce himself. Very proper. Um, and he found the Rudyard statue in his backpack. That's what Ginger had found when they were searching his backpack. Now Rudy's thinking, "Oh, they're gonna think this is a false idol. I'm just gonna lie. Go ahead and lie. Oh, I got it from the Demon Continent. You know, uh, that's where I got it from. Just saw it and I had to pick it up." And he goes, "Really? Because there's it's really well made." He wanted to pay for it. And behind his back, he brought out the Roxy sculpt, the very first one that he ever made. He had bartered to sell off when he was in Fitor. Now, this guy's going into super detail. He's like, it looks like they're made by the same person. Looks like they're made by the same person, and it's so funny. Um, he's going into super detail talking about the action poses, how you can tell the wind is whipping with the cloak and everything, and you can just tell where her form is, like where her the buttocks and everything else. But he goes, "Oh, but there's more to this figure. If you take off the cloak, there's actually a hidden third arm where she's covering up her chest, and you know, so her feature is double. The look she has is not just a focusing. It's like, I'm trying to cover her up." And Rudy is just like, he's so happy that someone loves and appreciates his work. And then he goes, "Well, what happened to the mole?" He's like, "The mole?" He's like, "Yeah, it's underneath there." He said, "Oh, that's what that was. I took it off." And Rudy like, "Dude." And he goes into detail about that mole, saying, "You ever notice that the hand cannot go all the way over there? It's as if, she's trying to conceal that mole like it's a third nipple." And, he then, in Rudy's mind, he sees Roxy, trying to cover herself, which the figure looks pretty flat. It looks more flat than the illustrated Roxy does with her, but irregardless of that, um, no such thing as irregardless. Regardless of that, he goes in detail, and Zanoba is an otaku. Like, he's a super nerd because he feels like he's defiled it. He is so upset with himself. So at first, I thought he was looking for the way out for Rudy, but because he wants to kiss his feet because he's like, "So you are the one that made these? Teach me. I'll be your pupil. You'll be my master." And he's like crawling around. I thought he was looking for a way out. No, I think he was just looking for something to replace that mole back, to put that mole back on the figure. And so, um, now looks like Rudy has an unlikely disciple. He remembers the fanatics during summer festivals. If you know anything about Japan, they have summer festivals with mangas and special editions and things like that. And a lot of those guys go crazy for those things. And he's thinking back to that. And of course, Guy can't kiss his boots because he's in this magical container. So meanwhile, Rudyard and Eris, along with little cute Aisha, they use a secret entrance that the guards have led them to, and they explain that because she can't say Rudy, she says Kennel Master because she almost catch herself. She says, "Yeah, where is he?" They tell him he's imprisoned in the castle, and she wants to run off, and they're like, "Wait, we got a request for you." And Rudyard's like, "Hold on for just a second. He's fine where he is," and we get the cute Eris pout. And Rudyard's like, "So what is it?" And I love the fact that you cannot tell what's going on based on Rudyard's face because he always has the same look unless he's smiling, or at least he goes deep in the frown mode. But I have a can of disinfect right here. He's gripping that staff tight, and the guard is making note of this. He's saying, "Look, um, we need to rescue our families. Like, the guard has the guard, the prince has our families, and Aisha goes, oh yeah, I've heard this too. In order to keep his guards in line and make them do whatever he wants, Prince Packs, imprisons their families. Excuse me, and takes their families. And the guard says, yeah, we've been trying to find time to get them and rebel. We've never given up hope, but we never found an opportunity. And so now they're begging them. They bow and beg them, says, please help. And Air stands up, says, well, all right, we're gonna do it. And RJ smiles and nods, and says, all right, cool. Now here's one of the crazy things that you got to notice. The passage of time in the show has always been like, oh, it's been this amount of years, or this amount of month, or 2 years and some change, or a year and some change. Here's what's really cool. If you pay attention closely, the way Eris looks now is completely different than how she was when we saw her. And I'm not talking about just her outfit. Like she's taller, she has more of she's becoming she is a young woman, but she's becoming a woman. You can see, her hips. You can see just that she's basically taller than what she used to be. And I like that. I like that a lot. That's a lot of attention to detail. You can actually see that in Rudeus later. Like when at the end of the episode, you can say, "Man, he's actually taller." It's great. Now, um, Ruger tells Eris though to stay with Aisha, and she's like, "Well, why?" And Aisha's so cute. She calls her One-chan, calls her big sister, and my heart's melting. He says, "Look, guarding Aisha is a vital duty." He's like, "All right, I understand." She hugs her and everything. Oh, Eris is so good with children, and like, it's amazing. It's great. So the guards say they will guide Ruger, but he's like, "Nah, it's cool. I already know where they are." Do suit do the superbs? Do they have psychic powers like the I forget the name of Roxy's demon clan? Do they have powers like that too? I know they have a very very long life, but man, the fact that he already knew, cool. I don't need any help. Y'all stay here. Now, the third prince, Zanoba, he is trying to find where that mole is, and when what's his name? When Rudy goes, why don't you just get a subordinate to help you? He's like, oh, I traded my last subordinate for this figure. Man, it was a great, great trade. And even Rudy is going, man, you have a one-track mind. That is funny, given that it's Rudy. I can appreciate that he is probably grown enough. But yeah, he still has his uh, kinks, we'll call him. He still has his kinks and everything, but he stays focused. Man, and I did mention earlier, he called himself a former jobless bum. I love how real he is with who he was and who he is trying to be and who he is now. Man, he's one of my favorite main characters in animes. Anyway, so he's like, I might have to expel you, my pupil. And the guy's freaking out like an otaku. And he says, of course, if you get me out of here, I can take you as a pupil. Now, this is when I said, oh, I guess he wasn't looking for a way to get him out. He's looking for the mold to reattach it. And he says, okay. So he starts walking upstairs. He has this look on his face, like shadows. Dude's already wearing glasses and it's shadows. And he says, so I got to do something about Pax, right? And Rue's like, I suppose. Sit here and wait a little bit longer. And he walks. I'm like, this dude gonna kill him. He gonna kill his brother. Ooh. So Rudy really just want to know what the plan was. And again, here it is, Rudy sitting, waiting once more. I find this funny that he's kind of gotten in a situation because of the man god, but there's another situation where like he does something and then he has to sit and wait a while. A lot of faith going on here, and not just like faith praying, like faith of hoping that believing in others and that things are gonna happen. So suddenly all the guards are running. They got these little glowy things that look like I forget the proper name of this weapon. It's a pole arm that has like a hook, but it has like little serrated edges. A lot of times you can actually see these being used on cattle, like to to like get things to move where you need them. And she's like, "Oh, they use those things," and they're calling for more backup. Even the guards that are there with them. And Ares is wondering what's going on. Aisha tells her, "Oh yeah, there's a person here called the Blessed Child, and they use those to restrain him when he starts going wild." And she goes, "Oh yeah, blessed children are people who are born with incredible abilities, incredible power. This blessed child was blessed with super strength from the time he was born. That would be fine, but he had torn off his younger brother's head when he was 3." Goes, "Oh shit! So they got another problem on top of another problem." Because even the guard's like, "Oh man, why is this happening now?" And while this conversation is going on, we see a shadow creeping up on Pax. And now we are watching as Zanoba has Pax by the back of his neck and is literally dragging and carrying him. And then it instantly click, Zanoba is the blessed child. Did Rudy just make an apprentice out of someone super, super powerful? Wow. So, Eris initially was like, man, I would love to fight him. But then when she sees all this, she goes running. And, of course, Aisha's going to follow behind her. We see Aisha catch up, but she runs in. He brings Pax all the way to Rudy's cell, like, all right, so I brought him. Let him out. And he's like, I can't do. He's like choking. He's like, I'll just rip your head off. He's grabbing him by the top of his head. You hear the crunching. He's like, let him out. Now they're trying to get him to calm down. Let me catch up. And Ginger's there, and Ginger's like, Ginger, save me, stop him. And Ginger's hesitant, and she's like, well, you guys don't care about your family. Eris is already caught up, standing behind everybody. She goes, oh, that, don't even worry about that. Ruger's going to save your families. And they're like, who the hell's Ruger? That's our superherd friend. He's the one who came in. He's gonna go save your family. They're like, wait, that dude was a superherd? What? Holy shit! And so, you know, Eris is confident. We've already had someone call Rudy twice already. Aisha is next to Eris because I think she hasn't said it. I think someone else had said it, but just keep following me. And at this point, Ginger puts her blade down. She sits and just goes like this. And Pax is like, what, you don't care? And he's like, I originally pledged, my sword pledged loyalty to Zanoba, so I'm not going to go against him. And I'm like, yeah. And Pax is, Zanoba's saying to Pax, I'm going to kill you. So, and he's pulling this guy's head, and it looks like his skin is ready to just give way. And it looked like he passed out for a minute. He's like, no, fine, okay, let him out. And he lets him go. And Zanoba like lightly taps his arm, broke dude's arm, just completely broke it. And he's like, man, if humans are such fragile things, and Rudeus is like, wait, it's over? Wait, Ginger was on my side? What? And so our next transition, there's a beautiful sunrise, and it's a wonderfully, wonderfully drawn scene because everyone who was there, they're on this side. Sun's coming up, and the sun is at the backs of Ruger, Lilia, who she walks with her eyes closed. She's a very dignified woman, and several people behind them, and including children. So they're walking, and Rudy's doing an over voice, and um, he's saying that his incantationless magic kind of tipped them off that he was Roxy students. They wanted to ask him for help with their family, but their plan hit a setback when he got locked up. And we see everybody hugging their families. Aisha hugs her mom. Um, Ginger has like 4 or 5 kids. That is amazing. They're all as tearful hugs, and RJ's coming over talking to Eris and Rudy, who are now almost neck and neck in height. She was taller than them. Now they're almost here, and they are not as well. I mean, RJ's here. They're about here. So in height, he's still pretty big dude, but the passage of time is apparent. I love seeing these kids grow. And through all that, Rudy was saying that apparently guards never gave up hope. Ginger was working behind the scenes and gave Zanoba the figures in hopes that he would come to Rudy's cell. Brilliant. Brilliant. He wishes though that she had explained everything to him, like what was going on, because things could have been different. He's like he could have done things better. He feels like the odd man out since everybody knew what was going on but him. But he says he understands, he gets, with their families on the line, they didn't want to risk anything else. And we get this, man, everything from this point on is heartwarming because he touches Aisha's head and smiles with Lilia. And while they're, loading and packing things up, it looks like they're going to go separate ways now. Lilia calls him back, pats him on the head, hands him the box that has the sacred panties, but within there is a pendant. And Lilia tells him, yeah, that's from Sylphia. She was going to give this to you on your 10th birthday. And, Rudy's thinking of her and thinking of Roxy, which, by the mind, I skipped something here. Rudy does find out that Roxy had left the kingdom. When Zanoba had came down and said, yeah, I noticed that this figure looked like our former mage here. And he had to tell, he told Rudy that she couldn't take his brother's sexual harassment any longer and left. So she has a limit, and her limit is just Rudy. Anyway, she had kept his sacred things safe this whole entire time, and she hugs him from behind. Now Rudy's blushing. Remember, Lilia is a busty woman. There's several very busty women. If I think about the mothers in this show, actually, there's Lilia, then Zenith is bustier, then there is Eris's mom, who was like, "Whoa, you guys really like redheads." Anyway, she hugs him from behind. He's blushing because her boobs are pressing against his back, and she's like, she knew he didn't change at all. She's happy. Man, she is happy that he is this way, and she legitimately goes, "I'm really, really glad you're safe." Like the most affectionate thing ever, because she is up on the cart, and he's like down on the ground, but she's hugging and holding him from behind, and he's saying he's glad she's safe too. And she asked if Aisha was rude, because she already knows how she feels about her big brother. She thinks he's a pervert because she saw the panties, right? Well, she is a pervert, but she thinks he's no good pervert. And while this is going on, Eris is actually bragging about the kennel master. She's bragging, telling Aisha about everything he's done up until this point. I love the interactions that Eris has with children and people around her age that are a little bit younger than her. She is really good storyteller. Like, she's a wonderful warrior and swordswoman, and I can tell that she's definitely gonna have some kind of knack for not historical recital, but just was it chronicling things. Anyway, when Lily asks if she's been rude, uh, Rudy's just like, no, like she's been raised well, she's bright and well behaved. And Lily goes, nope, she's a dull-witted girl who fails to appreciate his qualities. Gotta remember, Lilia holds Rudy in such high regard because despite when he was a baby, 30-year-old in this baby's mind, yeah, he was ogling her. When he was just a kid, he saved the situation of her having to leave and be out there raising her kid alone instead of coming up with this multi-family unit. Yes, there are people who have what's it called, sister wives and stuff like that. Rue was able to come up with a solution that helps everybody. So you gotta remember, this is technically based on like medieval ancient times. There are periods in time when people have multiple wives, and there are people who still believe in that today, and there are some people who still believe in monogamy. So in this world, you can't say to each his own because some areas frown upon. I'm just spoiler now. Where Zenith come from is highly frowned upon. That is part of the reason why she was actually super pissed at Paul. But yeah, and Lilia's mind, this kid saved their family. She holds him in the highest regards and will never say anything bad about him ever. And Rudy doesn't even realize. He doesn't realize that she was weary of him. I love the fact that he is naturally a natural protagonist that makes alliances by doing the right thing and what feels right. Because remember, when he was trying to trying to weasel his way through and overthink things, when he does things naturally and right, things go very well. They go even better than his plans, and his plans are pretty decent, except for the giant cobra that killed a bunch of people. But don't worry about that. So Yeah, when she says all that, Rudy's like, that's a bit harsh, but they hide their connection because Aisha's running over. And she just jumps in the car, closes the door. And she says she has a secret that she wants to tell him, and maybe she can help him out with it. And he's like, whatever it is, let's see what it is. She wants to come with him on his journey. She says, well, my mother wants me to serve my brother when I'm older, but, I don't want to, save me from this pervert's clutches like you saved me before. And I'm like, damn. She's like, can I join you? My mother says I got a lot of growing up to do and I'll be voluptuous. And she does like this little wiggle. And Rudy's like, what are you teaching this girl? And he gives her a chop on the head, which he holds her. He's like, children shouldn't say things like that. And after a minute, he takes off, the thing that he wears around his neck. I was looking at it, I was like, is that like a Naruto headband? Literally is a metal plate headband. He apparently he uses the forehead protector sometimes in battle, which I'm pretty sure I think I saw him use it back when they're on the Demon Continent doing like their bounties and stuff. So that's pretty dang interesting that he has that headband. Gives it to her, and what am I saying? He says, holding on to something of someone that you like, it can be a little bit reassuring. She's holding it and kind of holding it in reverence, and he says, I think maybe this is what your brother was thinking. Pardon me, when you saw those pair of panties, right? Which I think is crazy that she saw the panties, but she didn't see the pendant. Come on, Aisha. Anyway, she looks down in it, and he's like, "What do you think?" She's like, "I think I sort of understands now." And I'm thinking to myself, why won't you tell her? And of course, Lilia, she's in the cart smiling. She smiles with her eyes. I love how every character has a different personality in this show. But anyway, you know, her brother rubs her head. No, that's not her brother. Her mother rubs her head. Oh, I'm skipping a part. Sorry. Um, so they're leaving. They're going their separate ways. One car goes this way. I'm guessing they're probably going to connect with Paul, and the other car goes this way. And she says, "I promise to see. I'll see you again. I promise. I'm sorry I called you a pervert, big brother." And you know, Rudy's smiling. He's waving. He's like, "Oh, that's very nice." He's like, "Wait, wait." And even Lily is looking like, and she gives her daughter a pat and a rub on the head lovingly. She just knew all along. Even Erica's like, "Oh, so she always knew." And I was tearing up at that point. I was like, this is the best little sister ever. Best little sister. Best little sister. And so they went their separate ways. But Rudeus does give us an addendum. Apparently, Pax and Zanoba were held responsible for everything that happened in the kingdom, and they were sent into exile on the pretext of studying abroad. And of course, Zanoba's like, the Japanese word for master, Shisho. So he's like, Shisho, because now he has these two figures. I wonder when he's ever going to make a figure of himself. I think he did Roxy, he did RJ. He might do Eris next. I'll be interested in seeing what's happening. But that's the end of our episode. The next episode is called Turning Point, which might be the end of the season, called Turning Point 2. And I've seen some promotional work for when they meet a very big challenge. And I am looking forward to that. That is going to be the beginning of some really, really good stuff. For my wrestling fans, really good shit. It's going to be really good. I don't rate these episodes because I told you they build off of one another. But this episode in particular is my favorite to date. I love it. I love it. And it's when you have to think, I'm thinking to myself really hard. Paul is a really bad when it comes to parenting. Especially since the fact that he was worried about everybody. I'm pretty sure Lilia was worried about everybody as well, but she still found time to make sure her daughter wasn't this asshole. Yeah, I call Nora an asshole because when you look at Lilia, who is bright, intelligent, picks up on things quickly, very adult minded, very much like her brother when it comes to some of the things she shouldn't be saying. But that probably also comes from their father. Um, I find it. I just I have said this before in groups, and I'll say it again. Aisha best sister by far. This has to be one of my favorite episodes. It's right up there with Rudy having to fight the North Saint to save the Beast People. I love that little arc. Those 2 episode arc was really good. This is right up there for me. So, please let me know what you thought of the episode. Hit me up in that comment section right down below. Don't forget to like the video if you have not. Subscribe if you are new here, and if you aren't new here, please hit the notification bell to get notified of more videos like this. Don't forget to share the video so others can see what a grand time we're having. I am enjoying this series. I shall be very, very, very sad when they go on a break to give us season 2. Uh, 20 episodes in, and this is literally, if you look at Sunday as the beginning of the week, it's a great way to start the week. If you look at it at the end, it's a great way to cap off a weekend. But as always, please be good, be blessed, wash your hands, wear a mask, be good to yourself, be good to others. Either way it goes, please don't be a jerk. Stay safe out there, y'all. There's someone who always cares about you, and I will definitely see you next time.